Good morning, YouTube. You are on the lifeboat. We have the dynamic lighting today. The sun's going to come up through my window, and that's generally how I light my face. So we're going to have to be dark for the first little bit here, I think. But the sun is coming up. Thanks for joining me this morning. Hopefully it's not too dark in here. Maybe if I adjust this lamp just a bit, it'll hit me in the face better. It's not terrible. Good morning. My own eyes and ears, the Arabian Bard, Motorola Draken, Aquarius, yeah. What's going on, guys? Cindy G. Hopefully not too early for you. It's too early for me, I tell you what. Janot Neen, Nicola E. Hello. Good morning. Just having some coffee, waking up. Probably got a solid 4 hours. They kept us until 11:30, and then I got home probably at like midnight 30, and then had to eat a cheeseburger. I had to put dinner in the belly, so I went to bed at like 1, which is awesome. But I feel okay. I feel good. I feel great. It's fine. No big deal. Excited to get off at 5 p.m. today, and I'll have some normal sleep. I'll have time to do things, plan Calhoun's Corner, plan Anger Lifeboat episode. I'll have time to actually do other things. So that'll be cool. One crazy day out of the way. The rest will be pretty regular. Not mad about it. Rise and shine, Bobby Jeans. What's going on? Good to see you. Let's make it a great day. It's 1:25 here, Nicola. Is that in the morning? 1 in the morning? 1 p.m.? I guess 1 p.m. sounds better for your location. DS Kitty, good morning. How are you? Billy the Dandelion, what a lovely early surprise. Hey, Captain. Hey, crew. Sending bunches of love as always. Stuck at home again, but after rolling the same ankle on the way to the office. Oh no! Looking for some sanity today. It's probably nice to stay home, but the cost being a rolled ankle probably ain't worth it, right? 1 p.m. here. All right. Understood. I'm sorry to hear about your ankle, Millie. Hope you're on the mend with the swiftness. Good morning, Piano Mom. Snowing again. I'm so jealous. It's just beautiful weather over here, I imagine. It might be a little chilly right now, but happy Tuesday, Narcoleptic Chihuahua. Charlie Mullins. What's going on, dude? Good morning to you all. Hope everyone has a great day. Be safe. Checking in from work. Love you guys. Love you, dude. We love you. Yeah, I'm excited. So I bumped into a friend that I had made the last time I was working. So that's cool. I actually do have friends. And the girl that I asked out last time I had worked with them as well, ran into her. Didn't pay her much mind. She said no. But that's okay. You know what I mean? She gets to make that decision. But I'm excited to work with these guys again. It's going to be good. I missed it a little bit. I had to climb up a ladder like 8 stories a few times yesterday, which is pretty sweet. I spent the majority of yesterday 8 stories up, loading weights over a railing, dangling my body 8 stories out with heavy weights. The hyper mobility, I'm used to it now. I have like weak joints. I don't know if that's a similar thing, but I have to be real careful with my ankles and my knees, and my shoulders and my hips. Everywhere where stuff comes together, I have to be careful. Easy to do something you'll regret, at least if you're me. Lisa Sami, good morning. Good morning. Well, let's get into some recovery, shall we? Let's get into some recovery. I did not plan anything, but luckily our friend William White has all kinds of provocative things to say. Get us thinking about this, that, and the other. It's also associated with ADHD. Interesting. You think it might have something to do with our brains just moving really quickly, and then all of a sudden my body is moving quicker than it should, and then it's not supposed to move like that? You think it's that simple, or And there's probably more to it than that, but that definitely is a thing, though. I'll move too quickly and just twerk something all the time. I'm a young man. I am not old. Ripe age of 32, baby. Coming up on 33 in less than a month. Gets the adrenaline flowing. You know, that's something I didn't do yet this morning, Nicola. Thank you for reminding me. Is if I'm going to do any exercise, I need to do it right after the show. I'm going to probably do some stretching, a little bit of yoga, a little bit of down dog, if you know what I mean. Um, for real though, definitely doing some down dog and maybe some push-ups or something to get the blood flowing. Because that makes my day better, especially if I start the day that way. I find it's very nice. Gets my brain chemicals moving immediately in the proper direction, which is kind of like doing recovery in the morning, except different. Except different. Oh my gosh, this coffee is so good. Please hold. We'll get into some recovery here in just a second. Speaking of, let's get some ones up. For anyone out there that's struggling today, anyone out there that needs a little help, still, I'm not certain what's going on with Mist Dragon, but I was asked for ones for Mist Dragon yesterday, so let's think of Mist Dragon while we put these up as well. I'm drinking out of her mug, and I thought of her as well. I should probably reach out and see what's going on. I have faith everything's going to be all right. Shauna B, Joe Mama, Dale, Cox, what's going on? Specs, do some tincture with me. Johnny said you have all the tincture. Oh my. You see how he does this? He puts it all on me. Let's do some tincture. I'm so out of practice. I ate some ghost pepper wings yesterday. Correction, I ate half of a ghost pepper wing yesterday, 2 days ago, and it totally floored me. So I'm going to get the weaker stuff. One sec. Ain't going out like that. Ain't going out like that. This one used to be my favorite, and then I built like a tolerance up, and then it wasn't very spicy anymore, so I moved on. It's called Haunted. It's kind of hard to see, ain't it? By Impressed Capsation Company. And its ingredients are Carolina Reaper, Butte Jalakia, organic MCT oil. You know, you'd think it says haunted, you'd think, oh, it's going to have ghost peppers in it. Nope. Butte Jalakia, Carolina Reaper. I bet you, because I have no tolerance now, that this one's gonna do what it needs to do. And I'm gonna put it in the coffee. We're gonna go with the time release version. What do you think, Dale? What do you think? For those of you that don't know, this is capsation. If you've seen my uncle's channel, Chase the Heat, he eats hot peppers. Basically, this is a distilled hot pepper. For lack of a more detailed description, I could give you the detailed description, but it's just pepper oil is what this is. And why do I do it, might you ask? Well, it's how I know I'm alive. It reminds me. Look at that wonderful golden color. It is pretty dark in here, folks. Hopefully that sun comes up. If it doesn't come up, it's been a while since I've been up this early. If it doesn't come up, tomorrow we'll put a big bright light on my face, all right? That's my word. I give you my word. You can look upon my mug. Wow, that's not enough. Okay, I'm just going to do the tip. Boop. 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop, 5 drop. Just the tip. In the coffee. Now all of my coffee will be excessively spicy. It's going to be good. I'm going to get a little stir rod. I don't know if you can notice by the way I'm walking, but my left hip where my leg comes into the socket is so stiff that I'm not able to move it the same as my right leg. It doesn't have full mobility. And that happens when I don't stretch and I work hard, or I don't stretch and I like sit in a weird position for a long time. So if I don't address it, it will eventually progress to my sciatica, like just being super inflamed, and then I won't be able to walk at all. It'll get into my back and down into my heel. It'll stretch like the whole length of my body. It's pretty rough. So 100% gonna be. Ooh, yeah, it's got some spice to it. I'm also gonna grab some chapstick. Then we'll drink some coffee and get into some recovery. Bye. Cheers, Dale. Salud. What is it about sad music that flips my switch so much? A nice melancholy jam. I'm about it. The song just came on. Shout out to ZZZ Ahara. I think it's Zahara, but there's three Z's. Ahara. The song is called Girls on SSRIs Don't Cry. I'm not sure that that's a true statement, but it's a nice melancholy jam. I'm a big fan. I'm gonna put some more coffee on top of this, and I'm not gonna be a wuss, Dale. I'm not gonna be a wuss. Dale says I have only had tincture and pickled peppers, so my tolerance is real low. Hey, the last time we were doing this pretty regularly, your tolerance was through the roof, and mine was getting up there. I was definitely getting better at it. It's all right. We take breaks, right? Otherwise, I mean, we're kind of knocking on heaven's door, right? Might as well back off and let it be great again. Hey, that's nice. Once it's distributed, I'm not licking it off the spoon. Or the fork handle. That's wonderful. It's exactly what I needed. Thank you, Dale. Spicy hot coffee is nice. It's a very fine line though, and everyone's tolerance is different, right? So you definitely want to find like you want the sip to tantalize, but not to terrorize, right? Some of us do the spicy thing for the terrorizing portion, the terrorizing of one's senses, and sometimes I guess I do that too. But in the morning with the coffee, I think it's more of a get the engine started than a terror like really feel something kind of thing, right? Wine a little bit more. Good morning. Thanks for joining us so early. Shout out to everyone that showed up this morning. I know it's probably not as early for most of you, but heck, it is early as heck for me. Super duper early. And somehow I knew I was going to be cognitive. Somehow I knew I was totally capable of getting up. I didn't get up when I wanted to, but I still got up with plenty of time, feeling great. Didn't shave, but hey, whatever. Count my blessings. When we left off talking about William White's paper, I'm gonna have to get good at scrolling around here. Addiction recovery, its definition and conceptual boundaries. We were about 95 paragraphs deep. No, not quite that many, but section number 7. You can follow along as well if you have this pulled up on your computer. Although I'm not sure you want to read all these huge words. It's not the most enjoyable pastime unless you're into that kind of thing, which I am. So, does recovery require abstinence? I think we must not have finished that section because I don't recognize that. Are they adding things to this paper while I'm asleep? I don't understand. It always looks different every time I pull it up. Okay, yeah, no, we finished right there. Defining recovery broadly enough would allow measuring levels of outcomes over time and answer questions about the viability of particular problem resolution strategies for particular populations. So I guess that came right after us talking about the importance of how broad the definition is. We finished talking about AA making no claim that the experience of their members constitutes a universal truth. Oh my, so much words. Moving from the alcohol to illicit drugs arena presents further challenges. We're going to lump them all together for our purposes. Groups like Narcotics Anonymous have defined recovery in terms of abstinence from drug use, but addiction scientists have generally defined recovery from illicit drug dependence in terms of problem resolution rather than absence of drug use. Now, if I had to choose between defining recovery by problem resolution or by drug abstinence or the absence of drug use, I would definitely pick problem resolution, right? That's the whole reason we got into this thing, was to live a better life, right? To not live like that anymore, right? For lack of a more descriptive way to say that, but you can plug that into your life for sure, right? No matter what it is, whether it's gambling, overeating, right? Maybe I just need to go get some exercise, or like maybe I have a serious drug problem. All of these things have a common denominator, and it's the way that we're moving through the world, the way that we're thinking about things, the way that we're just not moving effectively, right? And obviously, there's a whole lot more going into that. In my case, I was drinking a ton of alcohol and smoking crack, right? Which is, led to a lot of things. And even deeper than that, there's some childhood trauma, some self worth issues, not knowing how to do this, that, and the other, having lots of shame and guilt, right? There's lots of things, lots and lots of things. But somehow I lost my place over here on the left again. But all that to say, I definitely feel like the problem resolution is what I was looking for. It's what I needed, right? And maybe not everyone is the same as me. In fact, I'm sure that most people are not the same as me. But I think could apply to a bunch of us. The problem resolution portion is really what's important. Whether or not removing the drug is probably necessary, right? I'm not trying to say that that's not important. What I'm saying is what's much more important is the problems get resolved, right? What's much more important is that my life is improved. What's much more important is that I'm living the life that I deserve, the life that I want to. So I think if we're talking about definitions and those are the choices, I choose problem resolution rather than the absence of drug use. Are you with me? Put a If you had to choose between the two, why don't you put a 1 in the chat? Or let's not use the ones. Put a 2 in the chat if you would prefer to define recovery by the absence of drug use, and put a 3 in the chat if you prefer to define recovery as problem in terms of problem resolution. Put a 3. Shauna B, hello, hello. Lisa Sami. Lemon zesty peppers. I love some lemon zest, and I love some peppers. Spanks, I'm sending some more tincture that has shook on my paint shaker for 2 months. Dude, I'm pretty sure there's some tincture that you've sent waiting for me in the mail right now. We just haven't gone and picked it up yet. I'm going to have the ultimate tincture collection, which is not a bad thing. I'm not complaining. I love it. I love it. I love it. When it's on the paint shaker, what does that do, Dale? Does that just kind of just move the stuff around, mix it up good? Wow, we are definitely having some different responses, which is wonderful, which is great. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to see 2s and 3s. So that's really cool. And I expected this outcome because we're all different, right? All of our journeys are different. Maybe my definition isn't going to work for you, and maybe your definition isn't going to work for me, right? This is just to illustrate that we have to find what works for us and run with it. You know what I mean? And like we can support each other and be a community of recovering, whatever you insert, whatever title here, right? Recovering, be in a community of recovery, but we don't necessarily have to recover the same way. And we can still support each other, right? Even if we're not on the same program, right? It's about love at the end of the day. We're moving closer to love, and we just so happen to be wanting to improve our lives. And maybe we have some common, some common denominators of abuse and trauma, and that's okay. All of that's fine. We're all going to be on a different path at a different speed, doing different things with different issues and different successes, right? But all of that is to be celebrated. And I could probably say a bunch more words about that, but I think I've said a sufficient amount. It's like a year-old tincture instead of 2 months old. Acceleration station. All right. Haha, I see. It speeds up the process, says Dale. DS Kitty says my morning treat is a steaming hot cup of Earl Grey tea. Ooh, I love some Earl Grey so much. With a bit of sweetened condensed milk. Something about like that cream element in my tea is amazing. I don't know what it is, but just a dash of cream, half and half, a little bit of like you said, condensed milk, something like that. Just really makes the tea pop, in my opinion. I had so much friggin' tea while I was sick. I'm taking a tea break currently, but we'll be back on the tea soon, I'm sure. Spanx, are you going to do your video game show later? I may. This week is extra busy, so I'm trying to figure out when and where to fit in Calhoun's Corner. When we do, the first thing I'm going to do is definitely not the game. The first thing we're going to do is either paint or crochet. I need to finish my rice ball, and I have some black canvases I want to try out. So we're going to do something creative, and then afterwards I'll probably play some games, like to wrap up or something. I have been playing off stream. There's just like when I stream, I want to make sure that I'm doing good and fearing not first, and then messing around. Even though I could just mess around on the stream all the time, I feel like I would prefer my public face, to be man about his business. But I like to have fun too. In fact, I like to have fun more, to be honest. I got my wood cutting level to 74, Dale. That's the highest level I've ever got in that game. Although I guess my attack is level 76, but combat doesn't count. That doesn't count at all. Ooh, it's spicy. All right, back to some William White. Simpson and Marsh, I wonder who they are. For example, defined recovery from opiate addiction in terms of the indicators of, in quotes, reduction of drug use, criminal involvement, and unemployment. Those are some decent metrics, end quote. Reduction of drug use, criminal involvement, and unemployment. Now, I think you could probably add some more, criteria on there. You might not even need all of that criteria, but if you used some, wizardry or some triangulation magic, I bet you all of those issues, all of those criteria are circling around living a better life, right? The broad definition we used earlier. So I like it. He goes on to say this definition is not requiring complete and enduring abstinence. Luke Feld and Timms also don't know who they are. I guess I could click on he's got a link for their section of the bibliography. I'm not going to do that. Luke Feld and Timms similarly define recovery. I'm just going to trust that Mr. William White vetted his sources. Which, if you're doing your own research, don't do that. Similarly define recovery as a state in which drug abuse and related behavior, I'm quoting, drug abuse and related behavior are no longer problematic in the individual's life. Now, my only problem with this being how I define it, if this is like the goal that I'm looking at through the window, right? Drug abuse and related behavior no longer problematic in my life. Like all of a sudden, I'm trying to make drug use fit into my life, which is not the right way to go about it, in my opinion, right? If that's going to be something that exists in your life, that should be an afterthought. That should be something that I don't think we should be planning for that at all, right? I feel like that it's going to just make it harder on ourselves, because honestly, I feel like that's not very realistic for most of us. Just my opinion again, right? I'm not a scientist. I do a lot of research. I'm not a scientist, but I just think the problem with looking at it that way is all of a sudden the goal is a little murky. All of a sudden the goal is not necessarily living a better life. All of a sudden the goal is being effective on drugs. That's a completely different picture, and that's not the one I personally am trying to paint. Maybe that's what you're trying to paint, right? Which is cool. I support whatever you want to do with your life. Just saying, for food for thought. Infinite supply in StarCraft. Food for thought. Goes on to say defining recovery broadly enough would allow measuring levels of outcomes over time. So it would allow us to measure things effectively. answer questions about the viability of particular problem resolution strategies, right? How effective are these strats going to be for particular populations? In the end, it would be helpful to distinguish moderated resolution. What is that? Sustained deceleration, slowing down, continuing to slow down alcohol and drug use. That's what that means, apparently. I'm going to start that sentence over. In the end, it would be helpful to distinguish moderated resolution from moderated recovery, which I guess the difference is pardon me, I'm just deciphering a new language, the language of William White, PhD. I don't know if he's a PhD, but it sounded really cool to say that. It doesn't seem to be any difference, but there has to be a difference. I'm just missing something. One more, I'm going to sip coffee and read it again. The difference is the second part of the statement I didn't read, which is tedious in my mind and makes me want to skip it, but I'm not going to. We're already this deep. In the end, it would be helpful to distinguish moderated resolution, which is slowing down, continuously slowing down alcohol drug use, and the absence of alcohol and drug related problems following so much the experience of transient, mild to moderate problems. So the only difference is that second part, following the experience of mild to moderate alcohol and drug problems. Moderated recovery is the same exact thing, sustained slowing down of alcohol drug use, absence of alcohol and drug related problems following the experience of sustained and severe alcohol and drug problems, aka dependence. So I think the difference here is just whether you're dependent or not. So I don't know why it's so important to separate that. In the end, it would be helpful to make this make this separation. Why? He doesn't explain why. The phrase moderated recovery would be best used to designate those individuals with severe alcohol and drug problems. Let's move over here so I can look at you. With severe alcohol and drug problems who have achieved sustained slowing down of frequency and intensity of use. I don't know what he's going for there, and I don't really care. I'm going to move on. Does recovery require abstinence from or deceleration of all psychoactive drug use? I think we've read a little bit of this. What's going on, Kristen Melinda? Good morning. Good morning. Hope this message finds you well, Kristen. We're having tincture in the coffee this morning. It's spicy coffee day. Happy Tuesday. Defining recovery only in terms of an altered relationship with one or more primary drugs, to which one previously met the criteria for abuse. I'm going to change the wording there so that it's easier to understand. Defining recovery only in the terms of an altered relationship with your DOC. Ignores the propensity for concurrent or sequential problems with multiple drugs. Ignores the high possibility that there's other stuff going on, be it mental health issues or multiple drug addictions or substance abuse problems compounding on top of each other. So what he's saying is focusing on changing my relationship with the drug solely isn't enough. That leaves room to miss other underlying issues that may or may not be present, which if they are present, it's of the utmost importance that we handle it. If I've got, an alcohol problem, a crack cocaine problem, and I'm like schizophrenic or ADHD or have any sort of mental health, I was going to say disability. That's not necessarily the right word. Like even if I'm depressed, right, that could be mental health, right? So many things could fall into that mental health part. That's three things compounding, right? It's not just alcohol. It's not just crack cocaine. I'm also dealing with a whole lot of it. And honestly, depending on what your DOC is, I would be willing to bet you're probably dealing with some mental health issues. And that's not like I'm not talking down to you. It's just but there's a high possibility that we've done some damage to our brains that's changing the way that our brains are functioning, right? Which often manifests as mental health problems, not having what we need on a physical level, right? Um, all of that to say, it's important to make sure that we pay attention to exactly everything that's going on. It might not just be one thing, and that's what he said there. There are a growing number of people entering mutual aid groups and addiction treatment for whom a primary drug defies clear identification. I definitely fit that category. I was like a whatever you got, so I can do what I got later kind of thing by myself. That was my DOC was whatever y'all had, you know. So I definitely can get with that. F Scientology, good to see you. Good morning. Dale says, Spanx, I hope to see all of you sometime this year. I'm going to take several trips this year, and one will be real close to you. Yeah, dude, let me know. Let's meet up. I would love that. Hang out and eat something a little spicier than I'm comfortable with just for the moment, right? I'd love to see you, man. That would be way cool. Honestly, we should be doing more like lifeboat get-togethers. Um, I'm just getting the hang of this thing, so thank you for your patience. But they're coming, I promise. It's just going to take longer than we want it to. Dale's chomping at the bit. He's going to make it happen with his own power, which I'm totally okay with. Nicholas says mental health problems came first for me. And you know what? If I'm being honest, they probably came first for me too. I just wasn't paying attention yet, you know? I had to really run into some other issues before I started looking and figuring out what was going on. My name is Fragile. We all learning. The fragile dirt. We all landed. Okay. I'm not going to read too much more of this. It's getting to the point where I need to go make sure I'm ready to go. Let's find a nice note to end on. We're getting to a point where there's bullet points, and that's exciting because we've just been reading straight blocks of text. So some bullet points is exciting. We're almost to the bullet points, folks. This has led to definitions of recovery as enduring abstinence from all traditionally defined drugs of abuse. The problem with universally declaring all substitute drug use as destructive, we know where this is going. As destructive is an emerging body of evidence that drug substitution, aka medical assisted treatment in a lot of cases, is drug substitution, can serve as an effective strategy through which some people ward off acute and post-acute, don't know the difference, withdrawal during their early search for recovery. For example, the increased use of alcohol and marijuana during the first year of heroin cessation. Now, I'm reading from a journal. I'm not encouraging people to go increase their alcohol and marijuana use during their first year of heroin recovery, but it is a wonderful example, right? That is harm reduction, in my opinion. I guess it's really in the eye of the beholder, right? It's really, it's up to the person who's making the changes in their life or whatever. But I would call that a trade up. Probably not going to be dealing with your pain as good, right? If that's what got you in the first place. But I can definitely see how alcohol and weed would be a step down, right? Many recovery stories depicting the peeling away of different drugs over time in a process that might be aptly described as serial recovery. Strange. And honestly, when I say this thing's a marathon, that's kind of what I'm talking about. I'm definitely peeling away different parts of myself over a long period of time, right? I'm constantly searching for the root, trying to fix what's been broken and like rebuild what wasn't serving, right? Recovery from substance use disorders is best defined in terms of one's total relationship with psychoactive drugs, rather in reference to a single substance. I like this guy, Mr. William White. He knows what he's talking about, I'd have to say. You have an awesome day too, Dale. Are you out of here? You probably are responding to me saying that I'm about to get out of here, huh? Which is also cool. Dirty Mouse, what's going on? Yeah, real early. I'm doing another job today, so I had to get this in super early. In fact, we're going to be doing this all week, same time, and Saturday. I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to say about that before I stopped talking about it. Where'd it go? What the heck? Did I lose it? Did I exit out of it? No, it's right here. Attempts to define recovery inevitably confront the question of nicotine dependence. We've read this like 3 times. Oh, we hella read this. Wow. So apparently we skipped that whole section because that was very, very interesting, and I don't remember reading it. So tomorrow, when we come back, we're going to talk about, does the use of prescribed psychoactive drugs disqualify one from the status of recovery? In fact, I'll probably put that in the title rather than, my brain wasn't completely on when I made the title today, so that's what came out. So early it hurts freestyle. Feat the crew, which is you guys. Which I still think is hilarious, but definitely doesn't tell you what we're talking about at all. But yeah, tomorrow we're going to talk about, does the use of prescribed psychoactive drugs disqualify one from the status of recovery? And I'll give you 3 guesses what my position on this is, and the first 2 don't count. You know what I mean? We've talked about this a ton on the boat. So, but we're going to see what William White has to say about it. More educated man than myself, and we're going to break it down. So thanks for being here. Hit that like, subscribe, the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It certainly makes a big difference. See the sun coming up, and y'all can too with the light reflected on my face. That's not just my screen. Although I think 1 minute ago my screen changed its color palette to a blue. That also might be why my face looks like this. That being said, shout out to the crew, the mods, anyone new. You guys are the best. You change my day every day right here at this time, and I really appreciate it. Be good to yourself today. You deserve it. Make it a great day. And I will, if I don't see you later today, I will see you in the morning. I am still committed to figuring out Calhoun's Corner schedule, even if it's just a temporary schedule, by midweek. So give me a couple more days. I'll figure it out. This has been the Lifeboat with Captain Calhoun in the morning. You guys have a great day. All right. Sayonara.